And when people say females, you reading some fucking tweet on Twitter, motherfuckers like, that's the problem with you females. You don't know how to respect men. You want to, and it's like, just type out bitch,
That's the
bro.
problem with you diet bitches.
You want to call them, you want to use the word bitch. We can all tell you don't like women, so just say bitch. Like, this female shit is like, that's like when people would be like, want to say all you black people, but they said all you urban folk. Like, what the fuck you trying to say, bro? Come on. Not fooling nobody.
Are y'all pressed? Do you guys get pressed, or do you ladies?
Yeah,
get
how do y'all
pressed
feel?
when someone regards you as female?
I mean, if it's in a
It depends on like
way.
the context of the
Yeah,
situation, right?
Like, why you acting like such a female? Like,
if you say you're just a female, yeah, that's like, what the fuck does that mean?
I think the word is just. It's like, what are you talking about?
justice.
Yeah.
So what's a way where someone says it and you're cool with it?
A very neutral way.
Like, I mean, it depends on the situation, right? So like, let's give me an example.
Well, that's what I'm asking you for.
I mean, you
Since
can't
it's
just
your-
say
it's
like
your-
that female. Excuse
As
you.
a female business owner, what's your
Well,
there you go.
Well, that is
I like
that's a
that.
As a female
grammatically
business
correct
owner, that
way.
is a good way to use it. Yeah.
Yeah, that's like saying
What's
male
that?
model versus female model. That's it's always been used that way. The term has
I feel
always
like
been
If you're having
model
like
used
a
is
that
heated
way.
argument
typical,
with someone
like-
and they call you a female, it's like a big no-no. Like,
So see, that's like the way they just described is the way that word female has always been used, like a female business owner. Like that's standard.
It's a
that's
distinction from like what's typically belonging to the opposite sex. It's like a model. Like when you think of a model,
you say
typically
female
think-
model and male model.
You don't really say female model. You just say a model, and then you think of a male model. You say male model. It's like it's.
I think
I disagree
well, I
with
think,
that,
I think
but
now it's more so.
Yeah.
You say model, you don't know. Like it's just.
you don't know.
I if-
There's a whole lot of gender
But
neutrality.
most of the time, outside of contexts like that, I feel like it ends up being feeling derogatory. Using the word female, it's like, why didn't you just say?
That's what it gets tagged onto. It depends what you're tagging the term to, like the rest of the sentence. It's the pathos of it, you know.
It's just like no one ever uses it in positive connotations. I feel like,
No,
or I feel like I've
yeah.
observed
like
it.
If you say we need more females in the room, like I think that's positive. Like
But-
if you're in a business meeting. Yeah.
Yeah, I think the way that they're talking about it is more
The
Outside, yeah, it's
slang.
exactly
The urban way.
That's exactly.
yeah, in like pop culture context,
Yeah.
the usage of that word, I feel like is almost always like a negative
Yeah.
negative
Do you
connotation.
guys
there.
think Twitter is a real place?
what the
I
fuck?
That's
We gonna bring this up every goddamn episode.
because this is you really
like
see
the
these
third
words
time.
being used on Twitter. Like you see
People say that shit in real life.
in like
People
okay,
say
actually,
that's the problem with you females, and I'm like, bro, I'll smack the shit out of you,
in real life you have to say it to
What
somebody.
do you identify as?
You don't really
Yeah. What?
bro, because it's not being used in a positive. Like you want to say bitches. So just say bitches so I can call you out for disrespecting women. But you're using females as like you trying to skirt around. Like, I'm not stupid. I understand you're
Here's the
disrespecting like.
Here's the thing. It's you can use I'm not saying use bitches interchangeably with women, but when you use bitches, that's not always followed by something derogatory.
Nah, facts.
It's not, so someone saying bitch to talk about what their viewpoint is, it's not always like, oh yeah, I'm shitting on it, whatever.
Yo, but when they decide to use the word female, they're not saying good things.
But saying
They're
like-
never like. That's the thing about females these days. They're so smart and self-driven, and they're just really they never say that. That's not how they use. That's not the context in which that word is called upon. It's always some negative shit. I'm like, bro, you're not gonna try to skirt past with the disrespect.
I feel
And
like
I get
negative gets
offended.
highlighted.
I get offended when niggas think it's okay to disrespect women in my presence. Like you think I'm cool with that shit.
Why would anyone consider or take into account what you believe? Like, bro,
No, because
I'm gonna get this off. No, what the fuck?
no, bro.
If
Nah, bro, because you
If
know
some
that
shorty-
because you know there's certain people. Look, in workplace settings or some shit like
better
that.
not talk about women whenever Asper's
Bro,
around. Like,
no,
You know who I am?
No, bro,
Like,
bro,
you sound
it's
real
like
white right now.
it's like everybody knows. No. Okay, all right. Let me explain. Everybody knows certain people act different people act different ways in different environments.
I think that's
they
everybody.
they know there's some shit they can say around other people that they can't get away with saying around this person or that person. So when people think I'm one of those guys where it's like, yeah, you could just come around saying whatever you want about women, I'm like, yo, like that shit is not gonna fly. That's what I'm saying. It's like, bro,
Okay, do you expect this to be something that like is?
I'm not talking about
you're around regularly.
Yes, bro. I'm not talking about strangers.
Okay,
I'm not talking about some random motherfucker at Publix on the phone talking about these females. I'm like, hey, bro.
Motherfucker yelling at his girlfriend on his phone. He's like, oh, I gotta fight this nigga out.
No, but like for people who know me and know my character and shit, it's like, what made you think that was okay? And it's because they're trying to skirt around it with these female shit.
I think, like I said, it's always depending on the message. So if they're saying some personal shit, they can say whatever. It doesn't have to be with the word female. They can say women are.
But they chose to say females.
If
and
that's
it's
your
always
hang up, like, hey,
bro, it's always
shit, but don't say female. That's weird.
But it's always some disrespectful shit or some shit with negative connotation.
That being said, this is Eavesdrop.
Oh,
Interesting conversation you ever listening on. I'm Chris.
I'm Esper.
I'm Nuvo, the
not.
kind of linguistic contemplator. Let's go.
Okay.
I am not a female.
It's terrible.
Maria.
I'm Emily.
And today's episode, we'll be talking about relationships, and women, not females.
Women's.
How's everyone doing today?
Good. I'm great.
Mimosa's hitting.
Awesome.
Mimosa's hitting, bro.
Yo, no, for real. Mimosas do some different shit because you're like, that shit ain't gonna do nothing to me. And then you get your third mimosa, you're like, okay, we're feeling mimosas right now.
Mimosa
I'm
got
on like
hands.
number 6 right now.
You're on number 6. I lost count.
He has a wider glass. Like
Yeah.
yeah. So
So he's
I'm drinking out the big boy glass.
That's
Salad right now.
That's
you're drinking from the wrong glass.
for
Literally.
a second that sounded very sexual. You're like, oh, but he got a whiter glass.
I said glass. Literally, like, all right, we gonna
Glass?
do this
Really?
shit.
Glass? Really? Get your mind out of the gutter.
Just saying.
God. So we
I gotta
have
pause this nigga.
we have 2 highly educated, highly driven businesswomen with us, and we've had an extensive conversation
Why don't you use the
about
word females?
their experiences, their goals within their career fields. But I was wondering what it's like. What is first? I want to start with the work-life balance as a young 20-something-year-old who's in this field that I'm assuming you're working with mostly older people, or do you are
30s, 40s.
yeah. So the work-life balance and how you adjust to this different social sphere that you're suddenly thrust into. What was that adjustment process like? And how much of your time, especially having a side business, is work versus life? And what is your
Give a
structure? Right
prompt.
now?
Oh my god.
Give me a 5-page essay.
Oh, essay. So, I would say when I started with Hunter Blue, which is the company I'm at now, I was employee number 8. So most of them were old 30s, 40s. But I think it goes back to being a little more educated, I guess. If I wouldn't have gone to school, I wouldn't know how to have a proper conversation. And it goes back to being from UCF, where like they teach you how to walk into a room full of professionals and like talk freely and be able to hold a conversation with them as well. But it wasn't really a transition, I would say, just because them as like my superiors, if you will, they know your age. So it's not like there's no barrier essentially. But where it was a little difficult was going on like vendor dinners and meeting people who have been in this industry for years. And I honestly would sit there like, what do I even talk to them about? Like, what the fuck am I supposed to say? I've been here for 6 months and I have no idea what I just sold you, but here we are. 'Cause a little bit of my job at first was like fake it till you make it type of thing. You know?
Has that gotten
That's a lot of
easier?
corporate.
Oh yeah, now it's so easy. And I think you put this pressure on yourself of like, I have to be knowledgeable, I have to be educated, I need to know, I have to be well traveled, and it's not. This person's a person just like you. I can literally be like, so what was the last thing you watched on Netflix? A lot of the times that is our conversation starter.
I would
see,
completely agree. Is you think that you go into these conversations with like executives that are older than you and that they want to talk about, you know, like these in-depth topics. No, they want to talk about sports and they want to talk about what they did on the weekend and what their kids like are doing.
See,
I'd have
That's a bar.
I'd have the opposite like feel, like not like it'd be too boring for me, but I'd take it too high. Like it'd get too crazy with me, you know what I mean?
You think so? I don't think like
No, like
Would you fuck
exactly.
a little person, or would you rather like a
Exactly. No, that's exactly it. That's exactly it.
if you have
Yeah.
enough drinks, it'll go there.
I'm saying. It'll get but with me, it'll go that way
Okay, bro.
real fast.
You quickly realize.
Real fast.
I think you quickly realize, like I said, these are people just like you. And the friendlier you are and the more the conversation actually flows and you crack jokes, like the more they actually open up to you, which works in your benefit. So the conversation will go there after like a few rounds of drinks. Like you feel like you guys are friends now. But you walk into the room like, holy shit, I better have all like, what is it, my T's and dots I don't
in a
know.
row.
Yeah, all that. And I'm like, no, I don't. You don't need to like put this face.
Can I ask y'all a question? And because y'all are black, like
because
no. Like say
because
say
we're black?
say okay. So you ever seen? And it's because I'm gonna be real. It's so you ever seen that Key and Peele skit where it's like there is the black president and to all the white people like, hey, what's up? And he gives them a handshake, and then.
iPad. Keep going.
So
Yeah,
there's
I
the
know
black
what you're talking
president,
about.
and he's handshaking all the white people.
But there
and
was
he's
only
like, hey,
one
hey.
black president,
And then-
so
And
it
then
was
and then to
Obama.
all the black people's like, my dog.
Yeah.
Are you
Tuck it
holding?
in,
Are you
tuck it
holding? Are you guys holding that standard, or you just?
Absolutely.
This is an honest question. No, I
Solidarity with
promise
my
you.
brethren.
This is and the thing is, I do that. Like if I know, and I
I do
accommodate.
the same thing when I'm in front of a Latina rather than, you know, someone else.
So you
Sure.
accommodate for race.
But it's like a little.
There's
You gotta make sure they on the same page as you. You gotta greet them. Good afternoon. They be like, "What's good?" "Oh, what's good, bro?"
Yeah, exactly.
All right, boom, drop it. But you gotta start out because every now and then you get that one or two who's like, "Good afternoon. Yeah, I'm doing well. Thank you for asking." All right, we
sometimes
staying.
sometimes-
We staying.
Sometimes it can come off as too racist. Like, why are you saying my dog for? Like, why are you speaking?
Well,
in
I mean, to be clear, I don't work in the corporate world, but I don't speak corporate.
no, but you've met new people. Like,
Yeah, but like if I'm talking to my managers and I'm like, oh, da da da, this person, da da da, and hook them up because that's the homie. Like I call everyone, like I speak very casually with everyone, and I maintain a relative level of casualness with the guests. But there's also some I can tell, like, oh no, let me like use all my proper vocabulary, form like proper grammar. We staying sentence structured up in this bitch, like.
Actually, Asper, to take your point, and actually your point too, do you think we're getting away from corporate talk?
Oh, for sure.
Okay.
I think that, well, I'm in, the startup world and technology. I think people talk differently. And we don't dress up for work too, for the most part. So I think
Really?
times
what do you mean by you don't? Well, you guys are remote.
fire,
no?
man.
Oh, I never dress
Huh?
up. I go on my Zoom calls looking so ratchet.
Well, I used to when I was
Like, my
in
hair's in a
advertising. When I was in advertising at a media company, everyone there was a lot older than me, and they would all like wear like the suits, and I like dressed up like to that level at that job. But then when I moved to NetSuite, it was like the corporate field. It feels more like a startup, and that's kind of the jeans and a t-shirt kind of vibe, and I feel like that's like how we dress.
I think
now.
it also depends on the owners.
Yeah, it depends on the owners.
My boss
too.
is super chill. Like he will get on and he's just, I just finished my workout and I'm like, okay, cool.
You know how art went through that like realism phase, and then it went to that like abstract.
Yeah.
Do you think it's like lateral with like the
Go
business
off.
world right now, as in like it's getting more more contemporary and like it's like it's getting less and less
Formal.
normal or
Formal.
formal. Yeah.
It's also the amount of people going into the industry are younger. So like the older people are retiring, so that's gonna change kind of like the way business is handled.
And overall, I feel like we're more relaxed. Like it's not that deep. Like
Yeah.
It's not that deep.
Yeah.
Do you think you take people serious or less serious or more serious based on their appearance?
Ooh.
That's an obvious
Yeah,
it's an
I think
obvious
we're all
yes.
humans. We do that.
Yes,
To
but
some
it
degree, you
depends
have
on
to.
the setting, right? Like in a professional setting, if it's understood that everyone just kind of is not going to show up in a suit, like that's okay.
Let's
Right?
go into it. For general attraction's sake, would you rather like someone casual or someone in a uniform?
General attraction?
Casual.
What do you
Yeah.
mean?
Casual.
You know
I'm
how
not like
people
a
say girls-
uniform girl. Like no. Are you
Girls like a guy in uniform.
Like a suit?
like firefighter? Oh my god. A
Oh,
cop,
no.
Like uniform? Like no. I'm
No.
casual. Casual school.
Yeah.
Pull up with a
So
T-shirt and jeans.
Say a guy pulled up to you, or you're at a bar, you're with your homegirls. Woo,
Say
shit!
females. You're about to say
Holy
females.
shit! You're with your.
Wow.
You're with
I was gonna swing. I was gonna swing. I'm like,
What makes you think? So say you're at a bar with your homegirl or whatever, and you guys are chilling, and some guy pulls up to you and slides, and like,
oh,
That's not. That is.
oh.
you ain't have to throw the slides in there. You got the dogs out.
It's a no.
it's a no.
It's a no. You
That's
can't
a
leave my
dub.
house like that.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah. The only time it's acceptable to pull up, to go somewhere in slides is if like you was making a smoothie and you just realized you ain't got no berries and you had to go to Publix. That's it.
Like, yogurt was
Like some
really
last minute errand shit, or your homie's car need a jump or something. I am not for slides in public. I'm against that shit. Don't be rocking no slides in public. Like that shit's crazy.
No.
Shit.
Yeah.
I only
don't-
wear slides. Like
Big
the most times
no-no.
I wear slides is to my girlfriend's house, but like
Wow.
Yeah.
He
Wait,
said
is
it.
everyone in a
Dude,
relationship?
wow. He
I'm
said
sorry,
it.
I'm sorry.
Huh?
Is
Where
everyone
do you
in a
wear slides?
relationship here?
No.
Everywhere.
Wait, hold on.
Where do you wear
Wait,
slides? Where do you wear
we
slides?
gotta get that. We gotta get that through.
Yeah.
Who in here is in a relationship? Just to show of hands. Okay. Okay.
That was awkward.
So we have two, Emily and, or sorry,
Who?
Oh my God.
Wow.
I'm gonna train this nigga. I'm gonna train you, bro.
Emily and Nuvo. Sit.
My foot.
They're the only two that are in a relationship. Okay. What was your question, Tanny?
Oh, don't put it on me now. How is the dating pool, like in a professional corporate setting, right? How does it look? Because I feel like, for example, right, women have, you have a
I'm
lot
not gonna
to
lie
think
to
about.
you, I don't
have a
like
lot
that
to think
term.
about because you can't, you think a lot more than we have to, right? Because you can hook up with anyone as a guy being in the corporate world. As a woman, though, you have to think about the social dynamics.
Hold up.
100%
Jumping
more than
so
we
many-
have to.
Excuse me.
So, question
what was
is-
that assertion you said?
We getting a lot of
couple words ago?
Was I wrong?
Goddamn, you can hook up with anyone in the court. What are you saying?
Gosh, there's a lot of judgment right now.
What are you saying right
You
now?
need to take HR training, bro.
There's not
Nigga,
a
just
safe-
because you're
there's not a safe space
6'3" doesn't mean everyone is living your fucking reality. God damn.
There's
I thought
a
my
few
question was
things
bad.
I was not.
I thought
that
my question was bad.
crazy.
That's crazy.
It's the shock for me. How is it dating and how is it navigating the corporate world while dating?
I wanna. Let me just pivot.
You're not-
let me
okay,
pivot. I
okay.
wanna ask, when you think about the concept of dating, people, partners, is that something that like makes you excited, or do you see it as like something that's like
It's a
eye
chore.
rolling? Like it's like, oh my god, like do I really have to like where are you?
I
like,
think actively being like I'm gonna date feels like a chore.
Yeah, it's
Right.
terrible.
But if I'm just minding my own business, which I usually am, and someone comes along, then it feels like, oh, that's more like, okay, it's fine. I'll figure it out. But when I'm actively like, oh, I'm gonna get on Hinge or I'm gonna get on whatever dating app it might be, that feels like a chore. And that's why I don't do dating apps. I'm like, no, that's not a thing.
Yeah, dating
I find it
apps are
interesting.
fucking terrible.
Dating apps are fucking terrible, and I find it interesting that like when people think of dating, they look at that as a vehicle. I personally don't know how the all the stats are with not stats, but like how it happens with dating apps when girls are like, okay, I want to date. I'm gonna go on a dating app. I've always considered Instagram to be like the main vehicle of how girls like find people they're interested in, or build relationships from like the social media aspect, the online aspect.
I think for most girls, it is maybe Instagram if you don't meet someone in person, like at a bar or while you're out.
So you've had people slide into your DMs.
That's how I met my boyfriend.
That's how you met your boyfriend?
Yeah. Well, there's more context, but
What's the perfect like DM?
I'm sure everything got
That just
so many
opened.
backstories.
That just opened. Go ahead, Tanny. I want you to ask
That's
you a
how I
question.
met my
What is
last
the
two
perfect
boyfriends.
DM to send?
There's no perfect DM.
Yeah,
Yes, there is.
It's not. It's not. All right, go ahead and drop the knowledge. Everyone, shut the fuck up. Everyone, shut the fuck up. Shut the fuck up.
Shit. I've been doing some wrong.
Honestly, the thing that has worked for me personally, I don't know if this is every girl, but like if I post a story about something that, like I'm doing or that I like, and you swipe up and you make a comment about that, or, you try to talk about that, then that leads into a conversation and that like piques my interest.
So their interest piques your interest.
So
No.
I'm gonna
When
counter
when
that.
they're-
More
when-
like authentic. In a
Yeah,
way.
when it's authentic and they're saying like, for example, I post a book and they're like, oh my God, I read that book, love that author, you should try this book.
You'd be lying.
Everyone knows that already. Everyone knows that you can't swipe up on the thirst tracks. There's 30 other niggas. When she goes to Whole Foods and she's taking a picture, you're like, I love that organic kombucha too. Everyone knows that already.
Picture the breakfast. She's like, oh my God, I had that yesterday. You gotta put some agave on it. Oh
Yeah,
my God.
exactly.
But I think if she has a little bit of interest, like that's what's gonna work.
What if it's someone like, okay, I'll give an example of a DM that I thought was like, wow, that was a good approach. I just wasn't interested, but but it wasn't offensive, right? So like this person added me. I literally don't know them. And I couldn't see anything, so of course I was like, let me follow them back, let me see what they're about. And so whatever, we do the whole thing, and he IMs me, and he's like, hi, or he DMs me, and he goes,
You just say I am.
like,
Yeah,
I just said I am. I use I am.
I am.
She has like the instant message.
MySpace? What is going on here?
Hotmail account.
Hotmail,
Catch
Hotmail
that.
was the shit, bro. For instant messages.
We use Google Hangouts at work, so I think.
Okay.
But he DM'd me and he was like, no disrespect at all. Like, I think you're really pretty and I would love to grab a drink sometime if you're available. And so I thought that was like a good, it's not creepy.
He just treated you like he treated you like a basic human being.
He treated you like a
yeah, but you'd be surprised. Some people don't do that. Some
Reply in
people
2 to 3 business days.
Like if you send me an emoji, I'm literally leaving it there. Like that does not work.
Yeah,
Like
agree.
no, that's not work.
But you're not liking it back or anything?
No.
No.
Chris, are you,
not
send,
if-
are you sending out emojis? Are we?
I was saying like that's a little.
Do we need to do a special where we just analyze your DM slides and figure out what went wrong?
That's hey, don't let him know about that. That's something right there.
Are we gonna? Let's do this right now.
No.
I'm lying.
But
Nigga, we all got mimosas in us. This shit going crazy.
It's mimosa talk. It's
Sorry,
to
finish
Ed's
that.
point,
Put a-
like if it's someone that I've known or have followed for a while, it is more appealing if they like reply to something and you guys hold a conversation. I think that works.
Well, my boyfriend, I knew him. I didn't know him. I knew of him from a mutual friend, and the mutual friend I met in college, and he knew the friend from high school. They went to high school together.
That
and
was complicated.
yeah, I know that was really complicated. I'm sorry, but anyway, mutual friend. We got really close. Posted me on Instagram. My boyfriend, well, now boyfriend, was like, "Ooh, who's that?"
Okay.
And then
I was like, whoa.
yeah, he was like, "Oh, who's that? You know, that you're posting." And then I was like, he showed me, and I was like, "Oh, like his friend's cute. Like, yeah, you can follow me. I don't know what's gonna happen, but like you can follow me. Followed me for 4 years. Didn't like say."
Lots of long
Ghost
way.
followers. We don't want those around here.
That boy had like a fucking chart up in his room of like, all right, so she likes this, and then every other month she goes here and
Followed me
then
for 4 years. He would
crazy.
start with like the little emojis, like maybe here and there he would like make.
So
a
it's not completely
comment.
wrong. Don't shit on me.
No, it's but I mean, emojis aren't gonna get you anywhere, and it didn't get him
Obviously
anywhere.
not, but it's like, yo, I'm here. You know what I mean?
yeah. Oh, like hi.
Yes.
I volunteer.
Like when you're ready. No, so I think it was maybe like year 2 or 3, and he was trying to see me when we were both in town because we don't live in Florida anymore. So we were both in town for the holidays. He was trying to see me, missed me again, and then he tried to see me again this like past holiday season, and I was kind of like, I'm not here anymore, but I will be going to New York because that's where he lives. I was like, I'm going to New York in April. If you want to meet me, we can meet then. Met in person. It was kind of like a done deal after that.
It's a wrap. This goes to show, message to guys, when you're trying to make plans with a girl and things just keep falling through, you know, hang in there, keep pushing. Sometimes it's just like it just can't work out. That's
I think no means no, though.
Timing
No.
is everything.
No means no. No means no.
That's very true.
That's
No means no.
Wait, but are y'all long distance?
Yeah, we are doing long distance. I don't know how long that will last though, because I'm trying to apply to a business school in New York. So if I get in, then I'll move there.
Short distance.
Okay.
A short distance.
A step and a hop away.
Yeah.
Okay, word.
Wait, so can I ask y'all a question? Like, I asked this yesterday on the other podcast. Do you think you have to be
Over here recycling
relationship
questions.
educated to be in a relationship?
The fuck is a
I think it's about
relationship?
emotional intelligence.
Yeah,
Yeah,
for sure.
essentially.
Okay.
Do you feel like you have to be emotionally in tuned with yourself?
I think
to be-
so. It's one of those things. It's kind of like the catch-22 of like applying to jobs. So it's like they want you to have work experience in order to qualify for that. But I will say relationships are a mirror. So when you're dealing with someone, you really have to reflect on how you're coming to that person and what you're bringing, and that really comes from like how you are internally and what your drives are and how you like present, in a relationship. So people are like, sometimes they'll want you like come healed, they'll say, but it's like, okay, the ways that I can actually see things I need to work on comes from having a partner to actually be like that kind of like.
But it has to be the right partner too, because if you're not choosing the right people, then like what you said, emotional intelligence for a relationship, I don't think so. But to have a successful relationship, yeah, I think that's part of it. Is you have to choose the people who are gonna help you through the relationship and be there to communicate.
Okay, I was reading. I was reading. No. I get what she's saying. I was reading.
I was gonna ask like is that what you see like the pillar, like what are like the most important parts of a relationship, like a successful relationship that are important for you?
I would say the emotional intelligence, like you've worked on yourself enough to a point where you're able to really be your full self in that relationship.
Come healed.
I think communication's a big one.
Yeah, I was gonna say the C word.
Yeah.
That's what made me ask the question.
A lot of people talk about it, and I feel like they don't understand that there's different communication styles, and you really have to choose a partner that's going to be willing to work with you on how you communicate. Because, for example, like I've had relationships where I have a fight with someone and I just need to walk away and like breathe for a second and then come back to the fight and we can kind of work it out. There's other people.
Give me a second, I'll be back for your ass.
and there's other people that are like, no, we have to fix this right now, or like I can't, like I feel anxious, I need to work it out right now. So I think there's different communication styles, and you have to like be with someone who's willing to work with you on yours.
So when one of my favorite terms I had found like a few episodes ago is Goldilocking. So when you find yourself in like those kind of different extremes, where do you like where's somewhere that
can you
someone
define
can meet
Goldilocking
you at?
real quick for us? What's Goldilocking?
Goldilocking is the story like you take 3 bowls of porridge and you take
We know this Goldilocks story.
I don't know the full story. But I'm just saying,
what is the
for
term
people
mean?
who don't
Yeah,
know.
I never thought of the theme of Goldilocks. What is that?
So basically, it's like this girl breaks into these nice bears' houses, and they.
Y'all niggas don't know the Goldilocks story?
There's a lot
I
of
know the
tales that
story.
aren't
I don't know
known.
the theme.
Let me get
I
to
don't know
it.
the theme. I swear to God, I never thought of it that deep. I thought this bitch just pulled up to these bears' houses and said, "I'm gonna fuck all y'all shit up."
Yeah, she colonized their crib. That's exactly what happened.
I don't know what comes before or after, but basically, like, you taste one porridge and it's too cold, and you taste the other and it's too hot, and you taste one in the middle and it's like just right. That's Goldilocking. So you like do like different extremes.
We're fucking doing this right now. We're describing the Goldilocks story. This is crazy.
What is Goldilocking though? Like as a
The
term,
term, the fucking term.
So it means like finding your center, like finding where your
okay,
center and your balance is, like what works for you. It's like not not too hot, not too cold.
Okay.
So like that, like you're Goldilocks for the kind of communication that like you're comfortable with in a relationship, or that you want your partner to have. Like, not saying like it's tailored to you, but it is tailored to you.
So I wanted to ask how you feel about finding a match versus making a match. How much adjustment do you think is viable in a relationship? Because at the point I'm at now, I mean, I've only ever been in one, but I feel like because I'm single, I'm chilling right now. Like, I'm so good that I don't want to have to do much. And obviously there's some adjustments you have to do in a relationship, but as far as like, I feel like there's not much compromise or sacrifice that should have to be made in order to make something work when we don't need to make it work. Yeah. How do both of you feel about that?
I think you can't make a match. I don't think that's healthy to begin with. I think you can find a match. So I was reading this book and I recommend it to everyone. It's called The Rational Male. And the author talks about, he talks about how like, as a society, we've been so brainwashed to think that there's like the one, like your one soulmate, and really dating is about dating like different people, and you can have good ones and you can have bad ones, but there is no like, when you think about just the one person, you're automatically putting yourself in like this box, right? And then so you date someone and you're like, oh, this is the one, this is my one person, and then that's where like all of this conflict in your life might stem from that, because you automatically just close yourself off to thinking like, I don't give a shit how toxic this is, like I need to make it work, right? And that's not always it. Like, you also can't change someone, which is why you can't make the one, but you can find someone that you really respect and love down to your core, and you love who that person is, and you do learn that you guys might not be the exact same person, but you learn to love the parts of them that are not you. And I think that's what it actually means to love someone.
I agree.
Damn. All right.
That was good. Wow.
Damn.
I'm gonna ask a little deeper. So divorce rate is what, 52% right now?
That was way higher than that.
That
That was like 60 something.
Yeah, that was like 60.
I thought it was high.
That was like 64.
I'm pretty sure it was
is high.
Motherfuckers up there.
Looking big out here.
So how much do you attribute to people, I guess, obligation? Because I know a lot of people, right, that are in relationships and they stay there because they felt like, you know, kind of the same thing we talked about with business. Like they, you know, they've been doing it.
Yeah.
Or do you think it's more so like seasonal? Like people just change over time. So I guess the bigger question I'm asking is, I'm there? Okay, I'm there. How do you feel about divorce in general? Let's start there.
Ooh. Hefty.
Yeah, heavy.
I mean, it all stems from like, I feel like a lot of the stuff stems from communication. And I was going to ask you guys, like, so some of us have recently gotten into a relationship.
Sorry to cut you off. If this is another question, let's
let
hold that thought.
No, I know. But this goes to divorce. You know what I mean? Divorce is something that it's accumulated. It's like you guys couldn't come up with a solution.
Breaking point.
But the ultimate solution was divorce. Yeah. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So I feel like some of the issues or the things that lead to divorce is communication.
Lack of
communication. And
so if you look at the stats, I don't like looking at stats, but if we look at the stats,
you're gonna say infidelity?
No, financials. Financials is the leading cause of divorces.
Yeah.
So if someone falls on a hard time,
It's the thing though.
yeah.
No, I think
No,
it's
no. Because like, I don't like you know, it's just close to the kind of thing that would, I don't know, we could argue about this, but when you kind of point out trends, tendencies, things that happen, and you attribute it to like females.
Jeez,
What happened?
Say, dog?
What happened?
Cock that shit back.
Women.
What happened?
Cock that shit back.
Attribute it
Fuck I thought, nigga.
women.
The fuck I thought.
I don't like, yeah, when you say like women are more likely to, when you do.
I'm triggered.
When you, it's like a trope. Like, true or not, okay. But financial turbulence can really like shake a nest, and that can like crack a few eggs. So like, yeah, I like analogies. Come on.
To the women, how much does finance?
He said females, by the way.
I said to the women.
Consistent. Okay.
How much
I didn't
does
say
finance?
nothing about them.
How much does finance attribute to the relationship?
I think it depends on what stage you're at, right? Like where you both are at when you met that person. But I will say that, and this is a little, harsh, but love is not enough. Like there's gonna come a point where you're no longer in your honeymoon phase, and financials are real, and building a life together is real, and that's where financial stability comes into play. But again, if you met someone at a stage where you guys had just graduated from college, like there's an understanding that like we're both just trying to survive right now, and that's okay, and you can grow with your person and make that work. But financials are always going to be an issue, which I think there's a lot of divorce that stems from that, but there's also a lot of divorce that stems from maybe you have outgrown that person, you guys are no longer seeing eye to eye, or you guys do want different things. And I think there's like this stigma around divorce, but if you're older and you just feel like that's not your person anymore, I don't think, and you've fought for it, like I don't think there should be such a like negative con on it. Like my parents per se, like they were so horrible for each other. I'm like, yes, please get a divorce. you cannot, like, no, we can't all live in the same house anymore.
Why did you say the fight for it point? If
Because
it's not working out.
Oh yeah.
Well, I'm saying like if you've already tried to fight for it and the end goal was like no, what determined it was like we need a divorce, then that should be okay.
And that's
you already put up the fight. You already tried to work it out. You already tried to live with each other's differences.
And that's why I said it leads to divorce, because it's okay you guys have miscommunication or disagreements, but it's how you work it out in the end, or how you come to conclusions or compromise is how ultimately the relationship will end. You know what I mean? Or continue.
That's one way. I feel like some people, they compromise too much on their way of life. They're like, they'll bend backwards and break their back twice over. It's like try to make something work with someone. And
Nuvo, can I ask you a question? Do you think it's good or bad that the divorce rate is so high?
I think, I don't want to subvert this question, but I think the issue is with the institution of marriage, like the system that tells you like you get married to this person and now financially, legally, you're tied up, and to undo it, you have to go through this whole process. Like, I think relationships happen. You can be with someone one day and down the road you're not, and that's natural. It's like people run their course in a relationship, but once you kind of incorporate all these different outside influences, then it kind of complicates things. People get tied up together, and divorce gets this kind of stigma where like, oh, you're breaking this whole huge thing with someone. It's like, okay, if one person breaks up with another in any kind of like non-legal setting, like non-marriage setting, then like no one really bats an eye, like, oh, you're single, cool, congratulations. Or some people will still say, I'm sorry. But it's like, it happens. It's just at certain levels, especially when there's families involved.
Do you think it's bad or good though, in the sense that before it almost seemed like people were just stuck, right? At the same time, maybe people are giving up too early.
Again,
So,
triple D advocate here. I fight for I don't fight. I see both sides. I see the side of like, okay, it's not a great thing. You don't want to see like people getting broken up at that kind of level. But on the other point, it's like they weren't doing that because they weren't able to. Like they couldn't have done it without having like immense repercussions that like would affect their way of life, which is literally at the base of it. Even if you're married, you're still two individual human beings living in this world, and like you have to make sure that you're good on that level. It's like Maslow's hierarchy. So like you can't just like ignore the facts of reality and like be like, okay, this relationship isn't working for me. No, you can't be like, oh, this relationship isn't working for me, and I'm just gonna like dip out, because once you step out of that, you're hit with the social stigma of, oh, you left the person you're with for like however many years, and now you have to navigate the world. Like, yeah, it's. I don't want to give you like a yes or no answer because I see both points. So it's
true,
like,
but I feel like we need to land somewhere though, right? Like, for example, Esper, how do you feel about it in the sense that, do you think that we give up too quick, or do you think we're getting to a point where we're comfortable enough to do what we want to do?
are we giving up too quick or are we fighting too hard? That's how I see it.
The mimosas, right?
That's what I called that most.
Mimosas are like,
I'm like, man,
damn.
what the fuck did you just I think as with a lot of the normative social change we're seeing, which are things that weren't around before that are now around and becoming more normalized, we're experiencing like an equalization of how much is going on. Like it has to reach a benchmark point. Right now, a lot of things that weren't possible before are now currently possible. So we're experiencing a spike in what I think is the normal amount. Not saying necessarily, well, maybe also for divorce, but it's going to normalize. And there's a certain number that is the reality of human relationships. I don't know if it's whatever 64, whatever number it's at now, but there's a certain number for divorce rates that it was always going to be. A certain number that just it should have been from the jump, but it wasn't.
Good or bad?
I think two people who no longer want to be in a relationship shouldn't have to be. So if the number that is the current reality is that number, then I think that's great.
That's a reflection of
Like,
like
how do you feel?
what
I
happened.
feel the exact same way.
Yeah?
If it don't work out, it don't work out. Like
is
seriously,
what it
seriously.
is.
Ladies,
Like-
how do you feel?
Feel the same way.
I feel like it's good. I think
We got a first line answer. Let's go.
so. I think that maybe it wasn't as publicized back in the day, but people were together but not happy, and there's probably a lot of infidelity. And I feel like now it's better that the rate is higher and people are just walking away from something that no longer serves them.
Also, like women back in the day, like really relied on their husbands. to
Yeah.
provide for them.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And now it's a different world. So
Yeah. Maybe that contributes to the spike in whatever percentage of the divorces are happening now.
Well, then,
Say
but
70%
like I could do this shit on my
are
own now.
initiated
I
by
don't
the
need
women.
you. Huh?
70%, I believe. 70% of divorces from college educated women. 70% college educated women.
I'm telling you, man, finances. So like what aside from finances, it's like a man-made construct, whatever, cool. But on an interpersonal level, what are some of the things that would make you walk away from a relationship, like your deal breakers? Like if there's no bending backwards for those.
The eggs.
the egg.
The eggs.
I didn't want to get to this question. This was not a question. Oh, be careful.
Ev, you go first.
deal breakers, I think like I'm really just from like my experience and in past relationships and like really working on myself, I've been very choosy about who I decide to be in a relationship with. So I look at that really early on to know who, like what I'm getting myself involved in, just because I've been burnt in the past. So I want to be careful. So the person I'm with now, you know, I looked at those certain things. So I really look in the beginning stages. And deal breakers for me, financial stability, I think is one that I care about. I personally love to travel. I want to make sure that my partner is able to, you know, do that with me. And I think part of that comes with financial stability. Communication, openness. I think I want to be able to, you know, communicate about different topics or like talk about different things and not feel like you have this like rigid one way of thinking where you don't see my perspective or able to kind of like validate my feelings when we have a conversation. So I think that's something I really care about. Honestly, like I have a full list of things
How
from
big
previous
is the
relationships.
checklist? How big is that checklist?
Throw a number out.
It's not even like a checklist. It's just like basic things that I think
How many bullet points? How many times did you hit return?
No, honestly, it's like after every relationship, I kind of like reflect and I think like what worked out in this relationship, what didn't, and what do I need to look for in the next one, and I kind of just write it down for myself. So it's not like a checklist. Like I don't think that you should go off of checklists because honestly, like that's not the way life works.
It's too black and white.
Yeah, and I've seen girls who have this checklist in their head and they sit down for a conversation with a man and it becomes, or woman,
Oh,
whatever
it's
you're
like
into.
it becomes like an interview.
It becomes like an interview and it's not authentic and the man like or woman can see it and it's just that's not going to get you what you want. Like you really just need to go in there with like an open heart and obviously like I have those things in my head that I look for like ambition and drive, but I like really am trying to get to know the person on a deeper level before I enter the
Are
relationship
we
with
being
them.
realistic though? I feel like dating is an interview.
It is, but it can be an interview like
It's
the
not a
first
spoken
day.
interview.
It doesn't come off
It very much
authentic,
is.
and I feel like it doesn't make it past the first date if you're so like, do you do this
Focused.
and do you do
Yeah.
that?
Yeah.
Well, think about it, right?
Like, it's
When
a
you go
whole
out to a
checklist.
first date, right? You putting your best foot forward. Like you're portraying an image
Exactly. You're
that's
putting
not you.
your best foot forward. So you're not really considering all those other aspects of you that play a factor in the relationship. Like, how are you going to fight when something, or communicate when you have a fight?
something doesn't go your
And to
way.
know that you really have to date the person longer term. So I think that's why it's like you're not just spilling out everything on the first date and trusting that what they're saying is true. You have to like let them show you.
That's far.
That's true.
I forget what I was gonna say.
I guess.
You just.
I like.
Oh, that's what I was gonna say. So I was reading a part in this book where it was like,
little bladder ass.
yeah, I read another fucking book. But it was like saying, there should be not verbalized preconceptions of what you want in the relationship or what you're looking for in the relationship. And I feel like that falls in line with the interview or this interview like esque thing. Like, is there like, well, I'm not gonna put your name, but
Better
so
get the right
some of us have recently gotten into this relationship, and it seems like, I don't know, it seems like the genuineness of a relationship just gets taken. So I was gonna say this, like, I was gonna give you an example. So you before getting into a relationship, you should have all these talks about what you want, what, you know what I mean, what you want and like what you're looking forward to, or like what's expected in the relationship. I'm trying to figure out, like, is that necessary, or like what things, unspoken or spoken, do you need in this?
See, I think that your problem there is you're saying like spoken or unspoken, and that's the problem with communication. Like, why can't we just talk about anything and everything? I think
So for me to be in a relationship, and this is weird as fuck saying my cousin. This is my cousin. So for me to be in a relationship,
Have a conversation. People.
I don't know, it's just the thought. But for me to be in a relationship with a girl, I have to be like, and this is spoken. Like, this isn't something that just
He
I have
has
to
his
be
own
like,
checklist.
No. I'm saying, like,
No,
I have to tell you, hey, don't have sex with someone else.
Well-
This is part of. Well, seriously, and I'm not even fucking around with you, because then you're saying like, oh, if that's something that just comes along, if you go and the same day we get together and then you go and have intercourse with someone else, I can't be mad at you because that wasn't spoken.
That's got to be hyperbole. You've got to be exaggerating. You've
Yeah.
got
Am I
you gotta
tripping?
be
Am I
Okay,
tripping?
no,
Am I
I
tripping?
think what your question was about is more along the lines of like, is talking about expectations really
boundaries.
genuine, or should it be like just kind of come about?
Yeah.
I think that
And the thing is, it becomes so tedious and cumbersome, and you know what I mean. It takes away from, you
the
know.
authenticity.
Yeah.
You have to like jump into it the moment you get into a relationship. Like, okay, here's the contract. This is what you're getting into.
Yeah.
Sign it.
That's what it makes it sound like.
Well,
though.
look,
Y'all
I
get
think
it.
I think I feel
there are things like if someone's with you or around you for a certain time, they kind of pick up on what it is that you accept and you don't accept.
Sure,
you
but
can
it-
have the conversation to be like, okay, actually, definitively in this kind of situation, this is what I would expect from you. This is what I don't want from you. This is how I perceive your actions to be in this kind of relationship. And so if you do this, they will get communicated to me in this way. And if
Okay, well, you just made that shit sound kind of.
You feel me? You feel me?
Yeah,
You feel me?
you just
That's
made
like-
it.
I make a distinction between talking and communicating. I can talk my ass off for however long. Communicating, actually, like getting to the heart.
I'm sorry.
of
One more time.
what.
Talking and communicating.
There's a difference between talking and communicating. You can talk about whatever the fuck for whatever the fuck. When you're communicating, you're actually like getting to the root of whatever it is that you could be talking about at like, basic levels. So like, it's when you say I feel like, or when you do this, da 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 da. It's like those kind of talks that your therapist would guide you to, like, okay, let's approach the problem or approach the topic and like just the topic. Because people can like talk.
Look,
Yeah.
I feel like this conversation, this hypothetical that you'd be having with the person you're getting into a relationship with, shouldn't excuse me, shouldn't be that cumbersome or whatnot, if this is someone you've known for a while, this is someone who you've taken the time earnestly to get to know in a no pressure, no stakes environment without any pressure, expectations, or burdens of a relationship, you're just earnestly getting to know someone, figuring out whether or not you enjoy the time you're spending with them. And then once you make the decision, hey, I'd like to make this more serious, then you have a conversation. Then it should be a serious conversation, because at that point it's a commitment that you're making to both people, not just for not just in terms of who like monogamy or whatnot, but it's a commitment for the behavior and the thoughtfulness that you're going to be putting towards this person. So it is a sort of contract you're signing. It's just one that you're enthusiastic and really happy to be signing with this other person.
Yeah, exactly. And I think that it's not like you have to have that conversation about expectations, because it's just not going to work out if you don't have that in the beginning and come to like an agreement of like, this is where I'm at, like let's like be this together, basically. Because I've had relationships where you don't have that talk and it just ends up, coming later on when things are going wrong. But with my current boyfriend, I think I got a lot of that out naturally by getting to know him. And then right before we confirmed that we were ready to take that next step and be official, there was outstanding questions that I had and I got them answered.
But did you ever have
that next step.
did you ever have to explicitly say, hey, we're going to be monogamous with each other?
We did talk about that. Personally, I'm bisexual, so we had a conversation around like if I wanted to bring in someone, what that would look like and things like that. So we've come to like an agreement on that on our own.
Word.
Yeah, like how does being bisexual in a relationship look like? Like is it any more complicated than a normal relationship?
I don't think that was a question for you.
Qualified to answer.
Well, he probably is in a
I like
relationship
to
with someone
when
Probably.
I see questions being asked, and I'm like, I feel like that's a trope and like it's like a misconception. I can't speak on like what it's like being a bisexual person and having relationships like that, but encountering people who do, it's like people being bisexual doesn't mean they're innately a sexual person, that they want to express their bisexuality at all times. Someone could be bisexual and like be happy in a monogamous relationship, or someone can be bisexual and like just be like, and that could be that, or they can also be bisexual and poly and like they open up their relationship and do whatever they do, whatever.
Or
it's
I could have
agreed
just said
upon.
it for the sake of conversation.
Huh?
But that can
Wait.
also be attributed too.
All right, I'm gonna back off. I'm gonna
So I think it depends on where you're at in your coming out journey, or like when that happened for you. Personally, for me, I kind of always knew, but I didn't really explore until college. And then like after college, I was able to date women, but I've never been in a relationship with a woman. So for me, like that, I just came out I think 2 years ago to my parents. So for me, like this is kind of newer, and I think I had a boyfriend at the same time I came out. And I told him like, oh, I'm so excited, I'm coming out like to my parents today. And he kind of like, my parents' response was, I said, I have to tell you something. And they were like, what is it? Are you pregnant? And I was like, no, I'm bisexual. And they were like, oh, like, isn't everybody nowadays? Like, they did not care whatsoever. And then when I texted my boyfriend the photo of it, he was like, glad you're not pregnant. And I was like, that's not really the response I wanted. Like, the response I would have liked is, congratulations, let's go celebrate you. Like, it's Pride Month. Like, do you want to do anything for Pride Month? That's kind of like what I wanted. So I think that like...
You're setting expectations.
Yo, that threw me in for a loop. Like, it goes back to communication. Like, there are some certain things that people want to be communicated a certain way, and others have a different kind of language that they send out. And so like he could have seen that, and like a lighthearted joke would have been his way of being like
exactly. And maybe that wasn't a good fit for me. And we ultimately decided to part ways. And
I don't like how you congratulated me.
Yeah. I ain't fuck with that.
that led to other, there was other things going on in the relationship that wasn't right fit. But now I'm with a partner who can openly talk about like, hey, in the beginning of this relationship, I had never dated a woman. I would love to date a woman, and it just didn't happen that way. Like, it happened that I ended up falling for a man. But in the beginning of the relationship, I was very like, I've never dated a woman. I really wanted this experience, and now I can't have it. So that was a struggle in the beginning, but I think as I fell more in love with my partner now, I'm just like so focused on him that doesn't come up anymore. You know, I feel like validated by him, and I feel like if I did, you know, need something in a different way, like we're able to kind of talk about it and try to accommodate each other.
Thanks. Shout out to him.
Awesome.
Shout out to him, whoever he is.
Absolutely.
Yeah. Hold it
Talk
down.
about it. You just straight up communicate.
For the where are you in your love search?
Oh
search.
God, love
Damn,
search.
the love surge.
That's crazy.
The
So I
love-
actually had a boyfriend. March is a year of like us breaking up. This March.
Who's
So
counting?
I'm hanging out right now. I'm just hanging out, but I will say it took me a really long time. So I've had 3 like serious boyfriends, if you will. My second boyfriend, like my first boyfriend I was 19 and he was 24, and I was in my like little party girl stage. So we never had deep conversations. Like that was not a thing. We never touched that. Like we both went into it very much so like we're having fun and it is what it is. And
But you would classify that as a serious relationship still?
it was my first like, oh, this is my boyfriend. Like we weren't like it was exclusive.
How old were you then?
19.
Okay.
But it was exclusive, so I think like it was in a relationship. Like,
Okay.
I wasn't gonna go around and mess with somebody else, type of thing.
Okay.
And I thought at the time like he's older than me, so he obviously like he's gonna be super respectful and like have it figured out by the time I get to be his age. Because little me might have thought like we were gonna last a while, but as like the 2-year mark came around, I was like, I don't want this. Like, this is not what I want. And I realized that he was dating me not because I was so mature, but because he was so immature, right? Like he was 24 and I was 19. And
Yeah, it's kind of always the case with
So-
that age split there.
Do you think so?
Yeah. Yeah, if you're 20, 23, 20, if you're 23, 24, 25 and you're dating a 19-year-old,
The
like
vulnerability is there.
you met around those ages, like
Yeah.
it's even worse if you didn't meet around those ages.
yeah.
It's
Okay.
there's no real there's no real justification for being that older person in the relationship
Really?
Wait, I'm sorry.
of that particular age split. We know as we age,
I
ages
feel like
matter
so much
less.
Changes between the time you're 19 and 20.
Yeah.
Like, I was not the same person, so that it kind of went without saying. And when I moved to UCF, I broke up with him. I was like, this is not working out. Like I need to focus on myself. And obviously, I didn't want to do long distance. And then that kind of bit me in the ass because when I got to UCF, my spring semester, I met someone because I was interning at the time, and we ended up doing long distance.
Yeah, I can't do
And
long
it
distance
just-
is
it was-
crazy.
That's like
twice,
why
never again.
that's when I really learned like you can love someone so much, but like that's not enough. Like you need to know that you have actionable, like you have a plan and you guys have plans together and you can grow separately. But
How far was the distance?
I was here, so I moved back to Miami because I was in Orlando at the time, and then he moved back to New Jersey.
Oh, no, you
And so,
Yeah.
and he works for the NHL. So it was like, even if we wanted to see each other, we couldn't because the games are crazy. His schedule was crazy. My schedule was crazy. Like just starting my first real job. But going into my third relationship, I felt like I really had an understanding of what I wanted and what I didn't want. And it wasn't toxic at all. I would say my last 2 relationships, they weren't very toxic. But it was a thing where I wanted to be a little bit more selfish with my time. And when you're in a relationship, there's an understanding that like yes, you are your own person, but you're making time for somebody else, and their schedule and their friends and the things that they bring to the table.
Yeah.
So at the time, I was like, I think we need to figure a few things out on our own.
I was gonna ask you. So I have a friend. He recently got out of a relationship, and I noticed that he is 10 times more productive out of the relationship
Yeah.
than he was in it. Do you think it's likely for a relationship to produce more effectiveness or outside like effort or however it be when you're in it or versus when you're out? Do you think someone in general is more effective when they're in a relationship or when they're out of a relationship, or just depends?
You're talking about productivity, right?
Productivity. There you go.
I think we've talked about this too, and For me, I think that it depends
Generally,
on who you're with.
generally.
Yeah, I think it's a complex thing. I think it depends on who you're with, because if that person's really driving you and motivating you, then yeah, maybe you are motivated to do more. But there are things that, you compromise. Like if I'm sleeping over at my boyfriend's house in the morning, I'm not getting my morning workout and maybe I don't do it later for sure. So there are times, but I think that if you're with the right person, then you're able to really feel motivated to do those things.
I think it's gender related.
What do you mean?
You gotta start saying females.
I know. I'm not gonna say females. I think
I can reach you from over there. Don't think you say. I get you.
I think men are 10 times more productive when they're in a relationship, and women are the complete opposite. Because think about it, right? The amount of time that we spend trying to get sex is crazy, right? Getting like dating.
Damn.
No,
Oh, wow. I don't like that we you just threw there. What is we? I don't relate. I don't like that we you just
the amount of time that you swiping.
The royal we is not sitting.
Nigga, we-
That you're using.
not swiping.
We use a lot of time to try to get sex.
I will say a lot of effort goes into trying to get sex, but that's like in itself. It's like it can stand by itself. I don't think every man is innately spending the energy to always be trying to get sex. You don't have to always be DMing every girl. You don't have to always be shooting a shot. Or
I've never slid in a DM.
True.
I still don't believe you. Wait, no. You made the distinction. You made it of someone you didn't know.
That's
like
what's
a random stranger.
Yeah, I mean, well, okay. I guess that term can mean different things
Yeah,
to different
it's
people.
big umbrella.
Okay, all right. We'll just leave that.
Yeah. So
Sorry.
like not like I've witnessed people who like make it their effort to try to like get girls,
yeah.
get sex, and like
Not in the most extreme form. It's just more so like the amount of energy that we
No,
spend.
Yeah,
I'm saying like
it's a lot.
There are people
It's-
who do it extreme, but even how they're doing it, the amount of energy they're expending is like, yo, even to get like that one unit is. I just-
Like even going to a
Hold on.
Unit.
Whoa. You gotta see me outside, bro. Come to the balcony, nigga. We gonna scrap this one out. We gonna scrap this one
attributed to
out.
I
as
only
a
said
space.
I only said unit because they were counting. So like that's it was a competition.
yeah,
That's why I'm saying.
Yeah,
that.
they were on some real
I said they.
misogynistic
You know,
shit.
I was only witness.
Facts. Nouveau is our wholesome triple D
Wholesome,
advocate.
triple demon dick devil's advocate.
He
That's
said
me.
the whole. All right, yeah.
You said that.
Yeah.
I'm fucking-
You don't have to.
trying to get units. That's
every day I'm coming up with a new one. Today was
But-
cunnilinguistic contemplator.
Kind of linguistic contemplator.
All
God
right.
damn.
all right.
you shut that shit down.
Try.
Back to the ship.
Please.
Yeah, please
Thank
get us
you.
back on. Get us back on track, please.
More units.
That was insane.
Units. Get a wholesale shipment. Oh no, wait, no, that's too close. That's too dark.
How do you feel like you guys have grown through relationships? Like, what are your things that you look for now that normally you don't put up with? It does fall back to icks, but like it's like something that's like, nah.
I feel like you may have asked that.
He's
I
after
think
the word. The first part, which I want to ask, like, what are some lessons that you've taken or you've walked away from introspectively from like your relationships, where it doesn't have to like. It could be something you learn about yourself or like how you deal with people.
It's not necessarily ick. It's a lesson.
Right, like
Yeah.
for example, how you said you learned that love isn't enough in a relationship, like something like that. What's something else, a lesson you learned, if you haven't?
I don't
think
know
we
if
should
you
all go
guys
around.
Yeah.
know about attachment theory. Have you heard of it before?
Heard of it?
Yeah.
Sorry,
I wanted to get into
what's
that.
attachment theory?
Kenny,
I don't know attachment theory.
I feel like you know so much but so little. Damn.
I'm just saying, it's not standard. I don't know, it's not standard. I did not take a course on it.
After my last breakup, I talked to my therapist about it, and she recommended like a video on YouTube about attachment theory, and then she also said that there's a book associated with it. And I read the book and learned so much about myself and what to look for in my next partner. And it's basically what it's about is that there's 4 different attachment theories or attachment styles, I should say. And they come from how your parents raised you in your early relationships. So the first one is anxious, and that person is really like scared that the other person is going to leave the relationship. They get very anxious, they get overwhelmed, they want to make sure their partner is like satisfied, so they sacrifice themselves sometimes. And then there's an avoidant person who is really scared about intimacy. They have a hard time communicating their feelings, and they're like the person who will leave. And then there's one that's disorganized, so a mix of the two. And the last one is secure. So that's a person who can communicate their feelings, feels okay in a relationship, doesn't get overwhelmed. But I learned that I'm anxious. And what's funny is anxious and avoidance are attracted to each other. So I realized that my last relationship, I was in a relationship with someone who was extremely avoidant and really was scared by intimacy. So we couldn't get to that next level. So when I was reading the book, I really learned about like how to communicate for my specific attachment style, like what I need, and then how to look for someone who's more secure. And
it was about, so like whether or not you were avoidant or anxious or secure, it was about just working your way through it. Like it wasn't trying to get you to be secure. It was
right. I was going to ask that.
There is steps that you can take to try to be more secure. One of the biggest ones is dating someone who is secure, because you're able to really feel like comfortable in a relationship where you can communicate and your needs and what you ultimately like, hope for the relationship. So I think
incorporate that.
Yeah, exactly. I think I have a friend, I recommended the book to her, and her boyfriend, before, like very early on, they started reading it together, and they kind of determined like what their attachment styles are and how they need to communicate with each other, and that helped their relationship, overall. Nice. So I think that really, really understanding more about myself and how I like can change when a relationship is overwhelming for me really helped. And then also like learning about what questions I should ask to kind of find out like how is someone secure, you know what I mean? And mostly that is like, are they able to really talk about intimate things with you, deep conversations about their past, and not feel like, scared off about that. Personally for me, being anxious, trying to look, for someone who's not avoidant, someone who's secure.
Maria.
You said heard.
Yeah. I say heard a lot.
That was really like impactful, packed, powerful.
What?
I gotta read that book. Let's just say
it's a really good book. Definitely recommend it.
I'm thinking like, is the goal to work towards being a secure person, because like there's can be different dynamics of how people deal with people who are secure, because like someone
they
who's
say that a majority of people can't move to secure, that you're like you are what you are for the most part.
That's how I would like interpret, like just hearing it without hearing that fact. That's how I would like I feel like people are what they are, and then
I mean, you could change a little bit, but you're never going to change like the core of who you are. So if that is anxious, it's just learning about like what you need in the relationship to not be overwhelmed to the point where how to notice your triggers, how to like understand what you need for communication, how to like talk to your partner about that.
Do you guys believe that?
Yeah, absolutely.
I don't know, because a lot of it. So, oh my god, I don't know what to say. So this thing I'm reading,
you can say female.
It says you can change your paradigms, which means like you can change the way you think.
I think so too. I'm agreeing with you in the sense that neuroplasticity is actually a thing. I don't think you're stuck being a certain way. Obviously, I think environment is everything. But no, I think for the most part, we are so adaptable.
But there are
non-measured.
There are some fundamental building blocks that make up a person's nature. There are some innate traits, some personality tendencies that we're born with that can get expounded upon or just completely eliminated by how they're raised in their early age experiences and things. And the early years of your life form how you view the world. And even if you can have things that challenge that worldview, it'll always be a reformed worldview. It'll never reset to being your initial worldview. Your initial worldview will always exist no matter how many times you revise it. So there will always be some, there will always be some remnant of that there, because you're changing it from the original. It's not the original.
100% agree.
So
we don't know the difference though. I mean, if you're acting on something that you did learn, right? As opposed to something that was there from before.
If it's something subconscious, then you might not know the difference. If it's a conscious decision that you're making, then I think you will know. Someone who was a former alcoholic will, even years after having defeated that, still be a former alcoholic. Not to say that label will define them, but there are there will be aspects, things, even if it's remnants, but there will be traits in their behavior that will be because of that.
Is it more so an identification thing?
I think in that specific example it's behavioral, but in the general context of things, it's just it gets baked into our fundamental nature as people. Through our formulative years, we have foundational blocks that are being built. It's a framework through which all of our thoughts are being processed. Even if we modify the framework, it's like it's a patch, you know? We first built I-95 and now we're modifying it. We're doing revisions to it, but we're working with what was originally built. What was originally built will never completely disappear unless we destroy I-95 and rebuild it. And as people, we're incapable of completely destroying it.
Agreed. So it's more so the fact that you're focused on the pavement that made I-95. What I'm saying is you develop like you're thinking, right? You become a different person. You have different frameworks that you develop. So you're not originally what it was that you know, whatever it was, whatever happened to you when you were younger, right? You just develops over time. So yes, you're right in the sense that you're always a part of that, but at the same time, it's more so it develops. If that makes sense.
I think you guys are agreeing on the same thing.
Yeah.
Like
Yeah.
you're developing. It's the same point. I love that. We're talking on the same thing.
We do that shit all the time. We'll be in heated debates and we're like, wait,
We're like, we actually.
are we agreeing?
There's a midpoint here.
Yeah.
Spider-Man meme.
But no, I did really want to keep going around with what we've all learned.
Maria is up next.
Yeah. From like a
Lessons taken.
Honestly, I think a big one that I struggled with from my first relationship till like my last one is, and just as a person, right? It's like when you're little, you think that everybody thinks like you. Like everyone processes everything the way you do, and they don't. So when you're dating someone, that's so important to keep in mind, like if we're having conflict or we're going through a situation, because of your upbringing, we might not see it the same way. So it's really important to be patient. Like I remember I'm easily triggered when something goes wrong type of thing because I'm a planner. And I was dating someone who was so, like, they were chill. They're like, dude, it's fine. We'll just do this instead. And I'm like, no, but that's not part of the plan. And a lot of the times we'd fight about that. And I'm like, it's like if I took 2 seconds to look at it from their perspective, we wouldn't be arguing right now because we'd be able to communicate that much better. So I feel like learning that you can't always just think that even your partner that you're with is going to think exactly like you is super, super important. And I think we're talking about reforming. The goal of every relationship that you get into, and obviously the goal is not to end it, but if a relationship ends, you're reforming every time you go into a new one.
yeah.
And they always say, like, you're never going to love two people the same way. And ultimately, that's the goal, because you going into a new relationship, you want to be able to love that person different because you've learned from your past relationships. And now you're learning you're loving from experience versus just, oh my God, like we're here, you know? So I think that's really important.
Yeah. I feel
love that.
I feel so like
No,
like
I love
and like a whole, you're saying like you can't just set expectations on
No, I think she was talking about perspective and like finding a middle ground between where two people can be nuanced and be together.
Yeah, I think it's about respecting the differences
Yes.
in perspective.
Like mutual respect. And I think a lot of relationships fail because there is no mutual respect.
I don't date this nigga, but we've come to a lot of we've gone through a lot of like, I don't know what to say, like not growth, sure, yes, but like the way we used to be with each other, even though it was never like, no, it was, and it was never in like bad will. Like we never had argument where like I can't stand this nigga. Like sure, I can't stand this nigga. But
Yeah.
like, not like I don't fuck with him. It's never been like that. And we got to the point where even through our arguments, we were like, actually like we're seeing each other like way more from each other's perspective and like where there is a middle point between us. Mm-hmm. And we're like, okay, well, actually, like, I see what you're saying.
Yeah,
I'm not wrong, and you're not wrong.
it's
We
like-
just
it's-
disagree on like certain.
It's like that how that Batman versus Joker, how like they say those are the two, like in that universe, those are they know each other the best because Batman and Joker spend so much time butting heads and clashing their ideals and whatnot, even though Joker's fucking insane. But the idea is that you spend so much time like butting heads and arguing and getting through these talking points that you can really start to understand how they think and how they process information and whatnot. And especially with me and him, because we're friends who are having these disagreements, and it's really like this like I think we were driven by a desire to understand each other better and really figure out what are the processes.
A fucking gem right there.
Can I ask
That's
a
I want to
better
make
question?
sure
Mine
that
or-
I want to make sure that we're all answering the question though.
Yes,
Original
I'm
question.
Yeah.
yeah.
Quick question. Like, who's little spoon, who's big spoon? Like,
We take turns.
Yeah, we alternate.
Yeah,
understood.
you have to take turns. You
So
can't-
same question to you, sir.
No, I'm gonna really quick, like the drive to understand each other, and it's very true. I remember the first time I felt like there was a genuine connection that happened, like not just through like our friend group, but like us as individuals. Was one time we were walking home, as we did usually when we're like just walking as a friend group, and Esper like walked ahead like way far. He was like by himself just walking, and I was like, what's going on? And usually we're going to Burger King, we're going to sit and just shoot the shit, whatever. And he just turns left to go home, and I'm like, and I go and I just like meet him by the wall just before he goes over, and just I'm like, I forgot how I say it, but it's like shitty day, huh? It was like one of those like you're not feeling something, and then he was like, yeah, man, and then we just talked, and like it was literally like in that kind of like moment, I was like,
You're good.
yeah.
All right, take it easy.
Yeah, it's like that moment, like I see you, and like
I understand-
accepting that.
I understand you.
Yeah, and like you see me, like yeah, it's
Yeah.
it was fire. Okay, now to answer the question, I love what you were saying. I love what you were saying about like that middle point. I'm someone who's all about nuance and finding the silver lining, gray area. Triple DA.
All right, next time he says that shit.
Yeah, just mute him next time.
I can mute his mic whenever.
Yeah, next time he says that shit.
Y'all gonna see me because I'm gonna come with everything. It's gonna be spiced with everything, so they just don't.
Yeah,
And whatever.
Hella seasoning. That's great.
Wait, I also want to know about your relationship. Like, how's it going?
I was just gonna go.
It's recent.
It's
recent.
fairly
How-
recent.
how-
We just made it official about 3 weeks ago.
Hey.
Oh, very recent.
Hey.
Yes, we've been seeing each other since last year, almost same time. So it's been like a year of like background foundation and that stuff, and we really like meshed. We didn't have to. We genuinely did not have to meet each other as the people that we were, because we had the understanding that this was like, it's like casual, like, yeah, and in light of that, or in that circumstance, she still decided to meet me as the person that she was, and I was like, "You're fired," and I'm genuinely like the person I am. One of the things I always tell her is, she's like, "Why do you treat me so good?" I'm like, "The way I am to you is the way I stay true to myself."
Oh, he's bragging now.
Whoa.
He's bragging now. His girl asked him, "Why do you treat me so good?" He's bragging.
I'm only recounting.
That's crazy. Okay.
But yeah, and that's where I see like relationships being like a mirror, because that's how I was when things were casual.
Wait, I'm sorry. What do you mean by mirror? You said that.
Let me go into it's like you can have these feelings, but the way you choose to communicate or to make those feelings apparent to someone, whether it be your thoughts about them, your emotions, your desires for them, like they have to come from you, and there are different ways that you can show it. So if you have an issue, you can either be passive or you can be like direct and like do about it, or you can be understanding. There's different ways to approach something, and
But how's it a mirror?
I want to say like something about the mirror thing, because I think it's also about like how you are as a person and your journey of self-development. Because if you don't have any self-respect for yourself, or if you are constantly like being this like bad presence on your own self, you're tearing yourself down, then you're gonna bring that into your relationship, and you're gonna take what maybe you shouldn't Like I've been in relationships where, you know, personally I didn't do the work on myself, and then I went into the relationship and they treated me badly, and I didn't care because I was just like, I'm gonna make this work, like, because I love this person, I'm gonna make it work. But if I had more self-respect for, you know, I would leave. I think that's part of the mirror thing. So if you've really worked on yourself, you're able to really come to that relationship like your full self.
Is it crazy that I don't see the mirror part? I'm not understanding the mirror part.
So I'll put it this way. One of the first ways that we form our opinions of the world is through our parents, our relationship with our parents, and that's our environment. So how this person acts towards you is how you see as the baseline for like everything. So you kind of like build your personality off of how you deal with the way your parents deal with you. That's your image. That's like how you see yourself internally. That's your, you know, the voice in your mind.
I feel like I'm getting more confused.
Let me get to it. Annie, let me get to it.
Okay.
There are very few people that you'll have such an intimate connection with where the relationship that you have with them is that important that like you're that mindful of your actions and the way you come to that person. So say if your parent says some shit that's disrespectful or comes at you a certain way, you might deal with it. They're your parent. You might not want to, but because of different circumstances, you have to be this person. You have to be this person at this capacity to this person, to this other person. If, say, you change the situation, you're in a relationship, and your partner says something that's disrespectful to you, you have the option. You have the opportunity to say like, no, this isn't how I want to like see myself. This isn't how I want to have this relationship go or this dynamic play out, you know? It's like, no, I'm gonna set a boundary and this is how it's gonna be. This is how things should be. This is how I want my world to be like.
I'm not confident. I mean, this is your point, but I'm not confident that you're explaining it as well as you could. I think the idea is that there's a piece of a person in how they interact with and deal with others. And in intimate relationships, you're interacting with that person a lot more, and you're able to see how you respond to certain scenarios. You're able to learn a lot about yourself through your interactions with that person, how they make you feel, how you respond, how they make you feel, and things like that. That's not necessarily limited to romantic relationships. I think you can learn a lot about yourself in that same facet of being a mirror through your relationships with your close friends, through your relationship with your family as you age and as things change. I just think part of a person is in every piece of their interactions with others. And so those people that you have extensive interactions with, you're able to observe yourself more in your reactions. I
think that's awesome. Actually, I think I understand it a little better now. It's more so like the Jay Shetty quote, like I'm not what I think.
Mm-hmm. I think the girls have to.
Go.
Yeah, they have to depart. You have to leave. I can put you. I can put you. Can I put her in one of the rooms downstairs?
Yeah.
Okay.
I have like 1 minute
No.
1 minute to go.
to like be on my call, so I can go outside like on the patio
Like
or something.
here?
That's fine. It's a 30-minute call, so
Okay.
Okay.
And
when do
do
you
you
have
want
to
me?
leave?
Do you?
If-
I don't have a call, but like I need to do work.
I think
Okay.
we should like wrap it up.
Yeah. Okay.
Let's wrap it up.
Let's wrap here.
Yeah.
Okay.
It's on you guys.
Do you?
Do
Do you?
Let's just. Do you want to just completely just?
Let's
All
wrap
right.
it.
All right. Thank
Oh
you
my
guys.
god.
Come on, let's do it.
Thank you guys for joining us. Sorry, I'm so sorry we took more.
No, time flies when you're having fun.
Thank you guys for joining us on both episodes.
Yes.
We really appreciate it. We all, I can speak on all of us and say that we all enjoyed you guys' company. And we hope we see you again on any of our episodes. This has been Eavesdrop. I'm Chris.
I'm Esper.
I'm Nuvo.
Still not a female.
I'm Maria.
Emily.
Thank you guys. Thank you, ladies.
So bad.
See you next time.
Alrighty. Bye bye.
Confronted with a situation.
She said ingenuine. That's terrible.
maybe confronted with a situation because of being ingenuine.
No, it's not.
And my response to that may have been to actually like calm the situation down by saying things that just sound good. Like, this is what the proper response would be, because like I don't want this person to think that this is what I think and this is how I feel, and just being like, okay, no. Where in me now, I know it's like we were talking about, if it's not a situation that serves you, then like you should know and have the right to walk away from it. And so like being authentic on all fronts. Like, okay, there are some things people aren't gonna like about you. There are some things that people aren't gonna meet you on your, you know, they're not gonna like on your plate. But like making that bare and open, not hiding it.
Yeah. Like Nuka
Sometimes
very much has like an Elon Musk brain, in the sense that he'll have different concepts hit him at the same time.
Yes. So yes,
Yeah,
you said
And
it
so
perfectly.
tying it together is like,
And a lot of times I'll like those concepts will clash. Sometimes I'll have like implicit things or like just loose concepts that I think about and like how they're related, and then I'll put them to words, and it'll be the first time that I do it in a conversation, and it's like, damn, I
You
think
ain't
about it
even
all the
how you
time.
ended
but
up
I
there. You,
haven't-
like,
Can I
did
ask you a
that.
question?
Alright,
So let me tell you, give me a scenario. So the other day, my friend was going through it with
a shorty.
their family member,
Okay.
and
I'm using my hotspot right now.
keep talking.
Okay.
okay,
You can-
the other, so my friend was he was going through it with a family member, and I didn't know how to, what's the word when you try to make someone feel
Console.
I didn't know how to console with them. So my way, and you can tell me if that wasn't a good way or not. My way of telling him or consoling with him was that, like, hey, yo, I don't know, I've never been through this, or I've never done this, or, you know, I don't have an idea of what you're feeling through, but I just don't know how to help you out. But I really felt for him. You know what I mean? So that was just my way of being like, yo,
Well,
I'm because sometimes I feel like I'm not useless, but helpless in the sense that like I can't help my friend feel better, and I feel like I have that obligation as a person.
Let me respond real quick, and Esper, you can take it away.
go ahead.
I think answering at the capacity that you can and you are at is the way to go.
Yep.
Like, if I would have had not saying I would have a problem, but like my issue, if you had gone any differently, would have been like, no, you don't know. Why are you trying to lie to this person and say, I feel what you're saying, and like I can relate and everything's gonna be okay? When you don't know, you can say that to someone. Maybe it's what, quote unquote, they should hear, but you should be genuine on all fronts. I'm not saying you should, but like, and I will say from the sound of it, you were.
Do you think that though? Like,
I really think so.
Have to be
I
100% honest about everything.
Yeah, because someone could come to me about, I think you can tell them about some thoughts, but like trying to have empathy is, what's the one where you relate to someone? Is it empathy? Yeah, empathy with someone where like you're trying to like fabricate it. Like if someone has a loved family member die, it's hard for me to like tell you about that, because the family members that I have had passed, I haven't had a strong relationship with. So like, I can't be like, damn. I can tell you like what I would stipulate about having a loved one lost and like the grief and like you know, that's something that you'll cope with. You don't really get the pain taken away, but it finds a place in your life. I can tell them that because I know it theoretically, but I don't know it like as a person. So like even that is still it's treading very lightly for me. Like treading against my own principles very lightly, because like I'm not trying to like relate to you, but I can tell you something that would make you, maybe makes more sense with what you're feeling and what you're going through.
Esper, I feel like you're about to distill it down.
No, I think, well, I don't know.
Yeah,
Boy, these mimosas, these mimosas about to distill me down. That's all that's about to happen with me. Oh,
And with that, yeah, I think the way you did that was cool. It was good. And yeah,
Damn,
now it's your turn.
full circle.
This is very much not episodes, more so just like content to take.
yeah.
Patreon.
All right,
Don't
so
feel like, don't feel, you know.
man, I feel amazing right now.
He's lightweight. He's still
So-
good.
I'm ready for that whole nap.
Yeah. So okay. So my
The American nap.
my takeaway from relationships, I've been in one serious relationship. It lasted 3 years. And what I learned about myself is that
Looks like he's going
it's
through it.
it's not
Oh, that
a
boy. Slow.
Go.
It didn't affect me at all.
What I learned is that it's not a matter of time. For me, love is not a matter of time. It's not a matter of getting to know a person and feeling comfortable around them. It's a matter of, do I think they'll accept me completely for who I am? If I show them, because I've been someone who's I've expressed my feelings before, and when I express them in their purest, most intense capacity, like I've been told I feel things too intensely. I've been told like my feelings haven't been validated when I've expressed them to people in bits and pieces. So I kind of go through life with this impression that I'm too much for people, and that if I present my full self, my full being, I won't be accepted or validated. And so I haven't shown my full self to anybody. There's no one who knows all of me. Collectively, everyone knows all of me, but I've never shown all assets of myself to a single person.
Someone needs to know your full you.
I desire to feel the comfort and security from somebody that I can present them my entire self. Not that I necessarily have to, but I want to feel secure and feeling like I could present that to someone. And so what being in a relationship for 3 years showed me is that I won't just end up loving this person and feeling that comfortable with them. It's not a matter of time. It's a matter of
Comfort.
It's just do I do it's their character and how we connect. You know, because there are people I've gotten that impression from, but you know, in a matter of 3 months, there are people who I've gotten that impression from versus 3 years. And this is someone who I was with on a day-to-day or every other day basis. So it's not like 3 years once a week. We were going to school together, you know, like this is hours every day. This is a daily thing. So
How do you feel about it?
that was my takeaway.
How do I feel on his? Mine kind of deals with his, but I'm a person that, whether you're my best friend, and usually it's on like that scale and above, I don't necessarily have to show you every side of me for you to know me. I'm just a person that's comfortable with everyone I'm with. Whether I'm crying or being a dick or angry or sad, you're just gonna know that side of me. You know what I mean? I don't have to withhold anything from you. But that's the difference between me and Esper and I. That you don't have to be friends with him and not see everything. Same thing with me. You don't. But I'm opposite. You can see everything and not have to be friends with me.
That makes sense. No, actually, just makes sense. Like you are comfortable being vulnerable around complete strangers,
and whereas he is not.
Exactly.
You know what I mean?
And
not necessarily strangers. It could just be anyone in his life. But I'm someone that I don't give a fuck. You can see me crying. You can see me happy. You can see me sad. You can see me however way you want to see me. I know my perception of myself, and this is not downplaying anything that Esper has gone through or is feeling. I know myself, and I know how I feel, and whether that's, you know, teary-eyed or I just look like a little bitch, I don't care. I just know how I feel, and I don't care how you. I don't care. 100%. I don't care about your perception of me. So, yeah, like I whether or not I show you all of me or none of me, whether you like me or not, it's admissible. I mean, hopefully, if it's someone that I'm with, that you know, it's something that they accept. You know.
I like that.
I fuck with that.
No, I think actually out of the three of you, I think I resonate more with Esper in the fact that I think the same way as him. Very much an introvert, right? But I have to come off as an extrovert. That makes sense. So, for example, get up. I don't like talking in public. I had to take Toastmasters to be able to.
Hold on, did someone just knock on the door?
I think so.
Did you not?
Dude, this-
But I like that. It's I didn't make that distinction before. Chris is showing the full spectrum and not caring about the ramifications. Esper is hiding the full spectrum or fragments the full spectrum
yeah,
because
fragments.
people, you're worried about people not having the capacity to accept everything.